Hi everyone, I'm going to show you in this video how I made these really beautiful Capiz shell place cards that we used at our wedding. This is a photo of how they looked finished off at the end and ready to take to the venue, but I will let you know I had seen a few different options online. I think they were either hand painted in a calligraphy or perhaps used a Cricut. This was the most budget friendly way I could come up with making them myself. So here are the Capiz shells. I think they can come in a few different sizes, but I used the biggest ones I could get online, which were about 8 centimeters across with a single hole at the top. The water decal paper I used was by a brand called Lasertran. I'll link it below, but I got it from my local art store. It was pricey, but what I did was get an A3 sheet, cut it in half so I had 2 A4 pages, and then printed my names in columns, so it didn't really use much paper at all. It recommended to print at draft quality, but I actually printed mine in high quality on the brighter and smoother side of the paper and let that completely dry overnight. So once I had all my names printed and ready, as you can see here, I'm just going to go and cut around each of the names. I'm just doing this one for this video, so I've left about a 5mm gap or so all the way around the edge. The next step here is to get a bowl of water and let the decal soak for the recommended time. In this case it was approximately 60 seconds. I try after about 30 seconds to see if it'll budge off the paper, but you'll see it doesn't want to separate just yet, but does perfectly at the end. So after sliding the decal off the backing paper, I'm just going to place it down onto the shell as quickly as possible. I liked mine placed slightly to the right hand side, but you do you of course. Once I've got it placed nicely, I'm just going to dab it really gently with a microfiber cloth to make sure it goes on as smoothly and firmly as possible before leaving it to dry out completely overnight. Okay, so you'll see here the paper has dried, but it has dried to an opaque finish. So to make this transparent, I'm going to use an oil-based varnish. This was recommended online by the art store that was selling the paper. So you'll see here I've got my shell placed down on a surface. I don't mind getting varnish on, and I'm also doing this outside following the safety instructions on this tin. I picked this little tin up at Bunnings here in Australia for around 15 Australian dollars. It's oil based with a gloss finish. Okay, so to paint this on, I'm just going to work on the decal first. So focusing it on that main center of the decal and working it around the edges. So after getting a first rough coat done, focusing mostly on the decal, I'm going to go back through and do a second light coat, trying to create smooth lines across the surface of the shell. Okay, so here is the finished product. After varnishing, I left this to dry in the shade for about 3 days in total, as the varnish I used does have quite a strong odour. I also moved it around a few times just to make sure it wasn't sticking to the surface it was lying on. You can probably see it almost looks like a sticker on the shell if you look really closely for the outline of the paper, but for what I needed it for, it was a pretty simple process with no hand calligraphy or Cricuts used. So please give my video a thumbs up if you find this helpful. Thank you. Bye.